What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host. It is May 7th, 2025. Man, I've been sleeping a lot lately, dude. Like 8 hours a night, which is unusual for me. Normally I get up like 10 a.m., But that's good, though. I don't know, just life in general, I think is just my nerves are shot. Just going through it and shit. So I think my body's just like, just sleep, But today I got up a little later, so I ended up rushing around. I'm on the last dungeon on Zelda Link's Awakening. So I will be doing a review on that. It is my favorite Zelda game, so it's definitely going to be bittersweet when it's over. So today, I made $20 the other day for taking my buddy home. And then I've been doing like little errands here and there to the corner store for my mother-in-law, buying her stuff. Like, she's been giving me the money, and she's been letting me keep the change on stuff. So I saved up to like $38, something like that. So where I'm on the last dungeon of Link's Awakening, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go and get another Zelda game. So today, it was about noon, and I have to be out of the house like at a certain time, and time was getting slim. And I looked at my wife, and she's working night shift right now. So I was like, hey, you want to go to the game store? I said, I'm on the last dungeon of Link's Awakening, and I always like to, if I have the money, go ahead and just buy my next game that I'm going to play. So I went to the game store, and they have Zelda 1 in the gray cartridge for Game Boy Advanced, when they made like all those old Nintendo remakes. I used to have it way back in the day. Sadly, dude, it makes me so fucking sad. I used to have like tons of different Zeldas for pretty much every Zelda for Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced. I had them all except for like Minish Cap. And I traded them all for the Tony Hawk series. I traded Zelda series for Tony Hawk. And it makes me so sad because those carts are now like $50 a piece and shit. Speaking of which, I'll get into it in a second. And the Tony Hawks are worth like nothing. But I mean, I was living in Florida. I was addicted to skateboarding. Skateboarding was literally my life. Like, back in the day when I was younger, I'd go to school for 6 hours and come home and literally skate until the sun went down every single day. I was so tan, dude. I looked like a Mexican, man. And like bleach blonde hair, just sun bleached from skating so much and being in the sun just hours every day. And on summer vacation, dude, we would get up at like 6 a.m. and skate till sundown. Like, it was insane. That's why, honestly, man, people see me limping around and shit. Like, yeah, dude, I wore my body out. And I'm only like 33 years old. 33, Illuminati confirmed. So I went up to the game store, and I had been keeping my eye on Zelda 1, the original Zelda in the gray cart for Game Boy Advanced. And it was $30 at the game store with like a plastic case and everything with the cover and shit. No booklet, but hey, I'm grateful. And which this is pretty sad too, but like my wife, she recently bought me Link's Awakening, and they had it in just the cart, and they also had it with a case and stuff. And I'm still thankful because it's like a $40-something game. It was like $45, and I'm still grateful. I'm thankful as hell. And honestly, the shop owner should have been cool about it. But when she brought it home, I was like, oh, dude, you got Link's Awakening. I was like, where's the case? Because I had already been scoping this game out. And it had a case and everything, and artwork, and yeah, cover art and shit. And I was like, where's the case? And she's like, it didn't have one. I said, yeah, it did. She said, oh, I didn't know. I was like, it's okay. I'm thankful, you know. And it was still in there when we went to the shop today. I'm like, dude, they could have gave you the better one with the case and shit. It was the same price and everything. So Game Exchange, you kind of failed on that one. But when I went in there, they had Link to the Past, A Link to the Past, for Game Boy Advance with 4 swords. And I was like, fuck, dude, I want it so bad. It was $25, dude. Normally, because even when I bought the first Zelda, which is what I ended up getting, it was $30. I did remember that. So I got it with my extra money, my side hustle money. Normally, he even said when I was buying it, he was like, hey, dude, like, hang on a second. Okay. Cops, man, being creepers. But he was like, I was like, hey, how much is that? Because I asked him about Link to the Past, and he's like, that's $25. And I'm like, oh, I want it so bad. Because I already know it's going to be gone by the time I go up there. Because $25's cheap for a Zelda. And I was like, well, how much is the first Zelda there? And he's like, oh, it's probably $40-$50. And he's like, no, it's 30. So I was like, I liked the first Zelda better than the third one, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with it. I wanted to get them both. I'm like, I want to get them both, but I need to save money, you know. But yeah, I got Zelda 1. I'm almost done with Zelda Link's Awakening. I'm gonna do a game review on it whenever I'm finished with it. But that's it for an update. That's been my day. I already beat the first dungeon on Zelda 1 because I turned it on to try it out, and where I had played it before multiple times, I just got to playing and beat the first dungeon in like 30 minutes. Let's get on with the show though. So this is a little bit of older news, but I want to cover it. Today's going to be just kind of like a compilation of conspiracy. France, Spain, and I believe it was Portugal recently had a blackout. It was so weird too, because all the content creators were like, oh, it just blacked out for a couple hours, and then it came back on, and oh, they're saying it'll be days for it to come back. Oh, it'll be weeks. And the thing is during this blackout, we were not getting much info from France, Portugal, and Spain and stuff, because they were during a blackout. I'm not sure if like the internet went out. There was people like, I think the internet was kind of just struggling and shit, because there was people posting videos of basically, yeah, like traffic lights shut down, everything just blackout. You know, people going through subway systems with flashlights and shit. All the stores closed, just blackout, man. Leave the world behind. So I had done an episode. So we had done an episode just on Cyber Polygon. So go check that episode out. We had done a whole series on Leave the World Behind, and please go check out that series. It should be in a playlist to where you could just start from episode 1. Dude, it is probably like, and we never got to finish it just because life got a little fucking crazy. So go check that series out, and one day I will finish it, you know. But dude, we go deep because we're doing a read along of the book, but we're also with commentary, but it's also too like we're doing deep dives on different subjects, like different conspiracies, like the Doja Cat Friends conspiracy, the the Matman conspiracy of Friends. Like, we go deep, dude. The QR code conspiracies, yeah, mermaid symbology. Like, when I say we go deep, homeboy. Like, go check that series out, dude. It was a banger. People were loving it, like, as far as views and shit. And each episode we would do read-alongs of the books and then go on little side tangents, deep dives on different conspiracies, because that one movie has like 5 or 6 or 7 conspiracies wrapped up around it, man. It is insane. But yeah, dude, we've talked about Cyber Polygon, and basically, without rehashing all this craziness, go check out those episodes I told you to check out, man. I think what it is it's 2 things, man. I think they're getting people used to not being with power. And the blackouts. And it's usually European countries. It does happen here. We've had some blackouts and shit that were like, that's fucking weird, you know. But I think what they're doing is they're doing it over there, and they're using us as guinea pigs and experimenting with us to see how we will react, you know. And it's, for one, it's a social experiment, because they're always doing social experiments on us, man. We are their guinea pigs, you know. We're in a terrarium, if you're a flat earther, you know. But for one, it just shows them how we will react, and they want us to fucking purge, dude. That's another series that I have going on. It's called Conspiracy Cinema. Go check out that playlist. It's under movie reviews. Me and my wife have basically been watching like all these conspiracy movies and then reviewing them afterwards. It's a good series. But that's another movie we need to cover on that playlist, is The Purge. And that's truly, I know the basis of the movie. I've never seen it. Sorry, I just finished eating a garlic burger, so I got the hiccups like crazy. I know the basis of the movie, and I think that's what they want, is for us to purge and freak the fuck out. And most of the time, we don't, you know. So, it's that, but I also think they do these blackouts too, to get us used to it. And I've talked about this before, and I don't mind talking about it again, but like China was doing dry runs on Taiwan. Basically they would fly their planes over like every day. And it would, at first, all the Taiwanese were freaking the fuck out. And then it got to the point, they're like, oh, they're not actually bombing us, they're just practicing. So what it does is it gets them used to it. So that way, when the day comes when they actually start bombing, everyone's outside of their houses, the sirens aren't going off, no one's running to shelter or bunkers and shit, and they just bomb the fuck out of them, because it makes you calloused and used to it. It makes you used to the craziness. So I think that's why they're doing all these blackouts on European countries. And America, I'm an American, you guys know that. Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. But America is honestly like the last stronghold for freedom for the world, man. We are the freest nation. It is what it is. I'm not saying America's perfect. I love my nation, but I hate my government, you know. But they use Europe usually as the guinea pigs, and then they try it over here. And usually everyone, well, I wish I could say usually, because I watched how everyone just bent over and took COVID up the ass, but except for the very few. But they usually use them as, they'll try it out with them first, and then they try it over here. So give me just a second. Let me roll this up. I got some people listening, and I don't want them listening in and freaking out because I'm talking conspiracy. But that's my opinion on these most recent blackouts. I wanted to report on it and give my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. So like I said, this is going to be kind of a compilation episode of just different conspiracies. This is fucking crazy. And this reminds me of an older podcast episode that I did. I'm going to keep doing plugs because I have reported on so much shit. I'm just going to like brag for a little bit. You know, sorry, it's not an ego thing, but I've been doing this for like over a decade. So we have talked about like a lot of this shit before. And I always do little plugs because I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record and just keep rehashing the same info. I did an episode on Moloch statue at the Vatican and Lucifer the telescope, and the title should be something within those keywords. Go look it up. It's an older episode, way back in the day when I was living in Danville, like years ago. So this reminded me of that, of when the Vatican has its own telescope, which is like super high powered. It's supposed to be like, I think, if not the best telescope in the world, like one of the best. I think Hubble might be better than it, but it's up there, dude. It's the Vatican. I mean, we all know how much money the Catholic Church makes, you know. They named their telescope Lucifer. And I heard all these blue pillars, everyone freaking out of like, it's an acronym. It was an acronym or anagram or what. Yeah, acronym, not anagram, but it was an acronym or whatever. But they were like, it was on accident. It wasn't purposely done. This is back years ago when less people were awake to what's going on. And I knew right from the get-go, I'm like, no, you don't just accidentally spell out Lucifer, because it's like, you know what I mean, the words make the letters L-U-C-I, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that wasn't a fucking accident. The Vatican named a telescope Lucifer. Oh, it's an acronym. It just happened to be that. No, I call bullshit. There was a UK geoengineering program, and they literally named it S.A.T.A.N. It stands for Stratospheric Aerosol Transport and Nucleation. Apparently this happened in 2023. It slipped under my radar. This info came from Minutes of Horror. He has 3 channels. And I do have to say this, dude. I cannot find, if you're watching Minutes of Horror, first of all, please like, share, and subscribe his stuff. He is an awesome content creator. I get a lot of info from him. And I always try to give proper shout outs to people I get info from, because that's what we should do in this community. Most people don't. I've had my videos stolen and shit, and no one even gives me shout outs or anything. Go check him out. But I do have to say a little side note. He put out Minutes of Horror and Seconds of Horror, which I subbed to both of those. He put out a new channel called Hours of Horror. I cannot fucking find it, and I've typed in Hours of Horror, and it's literally just like horror YouTube videos. So I don't know if anyone can comment a link to that channel. Just my advice to him, I can't find you, bro. So if you're out there listening, if someone wants to send this to you, that's cool. Yeah, I can't find your Hours of Horror channel. Second off, too, on Spotify, if you're watching Minutes of Horror, I do love your work, and I'd love to have you on the podcast one day. Maybe we could do a swap cast, you know. Spotify. On Spotify, whenever I mention another channel, if that content creator is on Spotify, I can put a link in my episode to where it's like related content, is what it's categorized as. So if I get my info from Salty Cracker and I tell you guys go check out Salty Cracker, he's on Spotify. So I can literally just type in Salty Cracker, his channel pops up, and it just automatically links up to it. So people can go, okay, I'll check him out, click. Minutes of Horror, dude, you gotta get on Spotify, homie. First of all, that's another income for you, because I know you're probably making money off of this. You're probably monetized, which, hey, more power to you. If I could get monetized, I would, you know. Which Buy Me a Coffee did send me a message the other day like, hey, are you going to finish out your application? And I'm like, yeah, whenever I can get off with my wife in time to go to the bank and get my info. You guys made it to where it's like getting into Fort Knox to fucking sign up for your shit. I get it for security reasons, but at the same time, I'm like, homie, you're asking me when I started my bank account. In like 2012 or 13 is when I started it, homie. Like, you think I remember the exact day and month and year? And like, that's insane. What was I saying though? Minutes of Horror is where I got this info from. So go check him out. But yeah, this slipped under the fucking radar. I didn't fucking know about it until he talked about it the other day. It's basically a fucking balloon program in the UK named S.A.T.A.N. and aerosol. That's the biggest right there. Stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation. I'm not super bright. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box. You guys know that. I was in special ed, multiple head traumas. I used to do a lot of drugs, so I'm a little bit of a burnout. Yeah. I have no clue what nucleation means. I'll have to do a deep dive on it. Sorry, my eyes are fucking burning. I got this fan on me. I was just chilling with the window down, podcasting, but these people pulled up next to me. Stratospheric aerosol, well, basically what they're doing is they're shooting aerosol, which is chemtrails, which has been a conspiracy for all these years. All these years, they said, anytime, this was old school conspiracy, back when I first started, you know? Because like I said, I grew up in a conspiracy family. I remember my dad talking about chemtrails. They're spraying us, son. You know, he used to listen to Art Bell and shit. We've been talking about this since the 90s. It's an old conspiracy. But they finally admitted, after all those years of fucking, what do they call it in abusive relationships? Not gang stalking, gaslighting. Gaslighting. After all these years of gaslighting, they have finally come out and said, yeah, chemtrails are real. We've been doing it for years. And yeah. Will we ever get an apology? No, Roseanne Barr. We will never get an apology because she spoke about it. When will they apologize to us? Never. We'll never get an apology from the blue pill people or the U.S. government. We'll never get an apology. Ever. So you got to get over that. But, yeah. Stratospheric aerosol, they're spraying shit into the stratosphere to cool the earth. And this ties in with the global warming, the fucking climate change, whatever you want to call it. What was it, back in like the 80s? I think it was the 80s, early 90s, I think. They made a documentary with Spock. Remember Spock? And he was talking about there was going to be an ice age. No, I think it was earlier than that. I think it was the fucking 70s, dude. This documentary came out on like BBC or something. And go look it up because I know it's got to be the 70s because they were saying like in the 80s and early 90s, in the 80s or 90s is what their projection was. We were going to go into an ice age. Winter is coming, you know. And it never fucking happened. Al Gore, his little, what was his documentary? And my family fell for it. My dad and my older brother. There was this documentary that Al Gore came out with, A Moment of Truth or something like that. Inconvenient Truth, that's what it was. And my whole family, like, even as conspiracy theorists, like, we fell for Y2K, we fell for Inconvenient Truth. You know, all the ice is going to melt and it's going to flood the world, and a second deluge, you know, because I do believe in the deluge. Go check out Graham Hancock's work, and I've actually covered the Noah's Ark and the flood. Go check out that episode on my opinions of, I believe in Noah's flood and the deluge and stuff. But people have literally done experiments, and I want to do it on this channel. Just do the experiment and kind of podcast, turn it into an episode of literally, you can put ice in a cup and fill it with water to the very brim. And I've seen people do it. And when all the ice melts, it doesn't flood the glass. And anyone can do this. A kindergartner can do this. And they're telling you all the ice caps are melting. Okay, it's not gonna flood the world, dude. It's just not. The amount of ice would just melt and just distribute the same amount of water. You can't make more water come out of ice. It's impossible. It doesn't. It's just, yeah, I've watched this experiment, and I want to do it on this channel of just filling up a glass completely full of ice and fill it all the way to the brim with water, and it will not flood. It will not overflow. It's bullshit. And somebody else, it was a realtor, called out one day. It was a video I seen, and this realtor was like, yeah, dude, you can literally look up the Obamas and all these elites and politicians and actors and actresses. They're all buying, like, waterfront property. Why would they all be buying waterfront property if the world's gonna flood? If Florida's gonna be underwater? If California's gonna be underwater? Why would they all be buying waterfront property? Makes zero sense. And shout out to Jim Brewer. I love his podcast. I think it's called Brewerverse. He pointed this out. Plymouth Rock. The rock, what we're told in mainstream history, that all the pilgrims stepped onto when they landed in Plymouth. If all the sea levels are rising and global warming's happening and all this shit, America was founded in 1776. The Pilgrims, forgive me for not knowing my own history of my own country, but pretty sure it was like the 1600s or early 1700s when the Pilgrims landed. 1694, I think, was Columbus. 1692, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Sorry, I'm like trying to remember this shit from my history brainwashing, Rockefeller history brainwashing from elementary school. We are the Mustangs at Northwest Elementary. We are the very best. But he made the point. If all this shit's going on of what these elites are saying, the inconvenient truth, why can you still to this day go to Plymouth Rock and actually get to look at it and touch it and step on it and shit? Now, I don't know if you can do that. It's probably all roped off, but you know what I'm saying? The water never consumed it. It never flooded over it. Like, it's all bullshit, dude. Everything we're being told is fucking bullshit. We only covered 2 conspiracies today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I went on a lot of side rants, but I had to because this shit's crazy. So basically, France, Portugal, and Spain have been having blackouts. Cyber Polygon is coming, like I've been saying. They're practicing right now. And there's a UK geoengineering program named S.A.T.A.N. So, hail Satan, I guess. Y'all have a good day.